Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? Welcome back to another video. And today we're gonna have a special guest. It's a collaboration with David from DC Perspective. What's up, David?
Yo, what's poppin', dude?
All right. So we're gonna be talking about the state of the race, whether we trust the polls, what the just going over the 2020 election. Now, as you guys know, I'm predicting Joe Biden is gonna win. He thinks Donald Trump is gonna win. So we're gonna start talking right now. So DC, first question for you. Uh, what do you think that base enthusiasm? Why do you think that base enthusiasm is more important than the polling data that we've seen that puts Biden up?
Well, I'm a conservative, which I know we're not talking about philosophy, but we're talking about basically my interpretation of what I'm seeing in the data. And what I'm seeing in the data as a conservative, I believe that history is highly predictive of the future. And I can look at the historical trends that I've seen in the past, whether it be registration, the incumbent advantage, whether it be vote by mail, and I can look at that and I can compare it to what I'm seeing today, and to me, it foretells a Donald Trump victory.
All right. And then why do you think it's more important than the polling data? Or do you think it's just because of the history?
Yeah. Right, because the polls, going back to the history point, the polls have always been wrong. I mean, since 1952, they've been very flawed, and I think that things are only getting worse for the polls.
Interesting perspective.
The last time we've had good. Am I cutting out for you?
No, you're not. Sorry, you just paused. All right, no, finish.
Yeah, the last time we had good polls, I think, was in 2008, 2012.
You're right about that. But again, I think that it's how you define good. Is good getting nailing it right on the number? Because by that standard, no, polls are horrible. But I think it gives you a good picture, and I like to give Donald Trump a 2% boost in the polls that we look at. So if the polls in Wisconsin are putting Joe Biden up by 6, give Donald Trump 2%, maybe more, because the polls in Wisconsin underestimated him. If he is losing in Florida by 3, it'll 100% be closer than that. So now my next question for you is, do you think, obviously you think Donald Trump's going to win this election, as a raw percentage, what would you give Joe Biden the chance of winning the election?
Man, I'm not a percentage guy, really, because I feel like the devil is in the details, right? And so it's risky saying stuff like this. But I would say that I pegged Donald Trump at a 60% chance of winning this election. And if I'm wrong, I'll have to bite my tongue and admit that I'm wrong. But I mean, I'm really looking at this. I'm looking at this through the lens of somebody who has an eye for the history, and based on voter registration trends. I mean, we've never seen in the history of United States registration voter tracking, we have never seen an incumbent president gain registration numbers in a state and then decrease their vote share in that state. It just doesn't happen. And even in the case of George W. Bush in 2004, he decreased in his voter registration share, but he still got Pennsylvania within 4 points because he had such high turnout. The Amish population nearly flipped the state because they like Bush so much. And so I'm looking at this stuff in Florida. I'm looking at this in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, and even the registration trends in New Mexico look good for Donald Trump. They look. My argument isn't just registration, but it is also base enthusiasm. We have never had an incumbent president lose if they've gotten more than 80% of the primary vote. Donald Trump got 94% of the primary vote. Ronald Reagan got 92% of his primary vote in his incumbent year. So, I mean, like I said, I don't think we're going to have a 92, or we're going to have a Ronald Reagan re-election landslide. I don't think that's possible in this polarized country. But I'm just looking at this stuff, the historical trends, and I'm going, holy moly. A senator or somebody who served in the Senate for more than 14 years has never won the presidency. Joe Biden has served in the Senate for more than 14 years. All of these things are pretty interesting to me, and I'm looking at this and I'm going, well, it looks like Donald Trump might actually win this election.
Well, I think you're certainly right. Donald Trump might win this election, to be conservative. Now, my next question for you is, I've seen your prediction. From what I understand, you seem to think Trump is favored in most of the swing states. Obviously, we're not counting Colorado or Virginia as swing states, but we are counting like the Rust Belt, all those states as swing states. And from what I've seen, your map seems to be Trump holding on to all his 2016 states, with the exception of Michigan and flipping Minnesota. Am I correct?
No, my prediction has changed drastically since then.
Interesting.
Like I said, devil's in the data, and so I really hate going out there and saying my exact prediction because I know it will be held against me in the future. That's just point based on the data we've seen that he does actually hold on to Michigan. Minnesota, he increases his vote share in. I don't know if that means a victory. Pennsylvania is going to be closer than I thought it would be, which I should have seen coming because of the persona that Joe Biden has. But yeah, other than that, New Hampshire is going to be closer. And I don't know. Nevada is just too far gone, in my opinion, for the Republicans to pick up solely based on political corruption and ballot stuffing.
All right. So since you don't want to go into specifics, do you think that Joe Biden, for example, and I want to talk about the state of Michigan, which I've been actually pretty big on going to Joe Biden. When I started my channel a few months ago, I had it as a lean Biden state. Now, in my most recent predictions of it, it's a likely Biden state, but I think I'm going to put it back in the lean column for my next video. Spoiler alert. But my question is to you: Do you think that the auto bailout is going to help Joe Biden win the state of Michigan? Because he can he can talk to voters about that, and I think there are a lot of factors that help him in that state.
Do I think? What about Michigan?
Sorry, I think I cut out. Do you think that the auto bailout is going to help Joe Biden win Michigan?
No, I think that Michigan had no job creation underneath Obama. So while the country did have good job creation, Michigan kind of plateaued that whole time. And I think that we're going to see that is the destruction of NAFTA and the USMCA, which is highly approved in the Rust Belt. So everybody in the Rust Belt approves of NAFTA. The auto bailout was in 2009, dude? That's a long time ago. And voters, they don't really have that much history, memory about this type of stuff. They'll remember what is recent. And what is recent is 4.3% unemployment under Donald Trump, record high black unemployment, record high white woman unemployment, just good unemployment all around, good stock numbers, which does affect 55% of the country, if not more. So I think that that's what they'll remember more than the auto bailout, which really didn't do much. They'll remember that Donald Trump is the one who brought jobs back and factories back and purposefully negotiated those jobs to come back, because that's what happened. I mean, I remember when Donald Trump got elected in 2017 and instantly he was negotiating with these businesses, getting factories to reopen in the Rust Belt. And I was blown away by it. I mean, he was already doing stuff his first week in office that before he was even elected. And I was sitting there kind of flabbergasted. Remember the auto bailout? Because the auto bailout was throwing money at corporations, whereas what Donald Trump is doing is bringing jobs back.
Well, you're right about that. But in theory, it did help the people of Michigan in the long run. But again, not going to have a debate about that. So my next question to you is, what do you think that again, going back to the polls, again, I trust the polls, you do not. The polls in the Rust Belt have been astronomically wrong for the past, I think, since 2014. They've been pretty bad. And they've typically 90% of the time underestimated Republican support. Again, in 2018, that changed a little bit, but it didn't really. Compared to 2016, it was nothing. It was moving the needle barely. But Donald Trump, and I'm going to pull up the polls from Wisconsin in 2016. Donald Trump was supposed to lose the state by 6%. He ended up winning it by less than 1%. So he won it barely, but he still overperformed the polls. What do you think the polls are getting wrong in the Rust Belt, and do you think that they will correct their mistakes from 2016?
In this election cycle, what the polls are getting wrong?
Yeah.
They're not polling the right people. Their models are incorrect. They're assuming way too much. They're extrapolating so much. I have a video on my channel where I overlap the Nate Cohen region map. So he'll post on Twitter sometimes photos of his maps, where he pulls his samples from, where he gets the poll responses from. And I overlaid it with where the white working class frackers are in Pennsylvania, and he missed just about every single one of them. every single one of the fracking towns in Pennsylvania. He didn't. I think they're overestimating the youth share of the vote. I think they're overestimating the minority share of the vote. They're overestimating turnout. They're saying that there's going to be 30 million new voters. That's not true.
Going to turnout, that's actually my next question. Do you think that just as a raw vote total, and I'll ask you to turn in a second. Just give me a yes or no answer. As a raw, Hillary Clinton I think she got a little more than 65 million votes in 2016. Do you think Joe Biden is on track to get more votes than her, the same amount, or which I don't think is likely, get less than her?
Yes, he will get more votes than her.
And do you think Donald Trump will outperform his, I think, 63 million vote total?
Yes, Donald Trump will get more votes than both of them.
Yeah. Wait, really? Do you think Donald Trump is going to win the popular vote?
No, I take that back. Donald Trump is going to get more votes than he did in 2016, and I think he's also going to get more votes than Hillary Clinton did, because 2016 was just a bad year for turnout in the Sun Belt for the Clintons, and I think that what we're going to see, I mean, look, I don't know if you know this, but Donald Trump got less votes in Wisconsin than Mitt Romney did, and Mitt Romney didn't even win the bloody state. So Donald Trump's ceiling, I mean, that's like a 40,000 vote difference. So if those Republican voters come home and go, wow, Donald Trump actually hasn't been this bad on a lot of the, I mean, and like we've talked about, record high approval among Republicans is what we've been seeing in the polls, which I know that obviously I've been here lambasting the polls the whole time, but I see it in the primary turnout as well. He got 94% of the vote. I think that those Republicans will come home. I think he's going to be able to just take it away. I think there's a better chance that he wins the popular vote than a lot of people say, unless, California and New York and Illinois come out huge for Biden, which they might, but who knows?
All right. So, in terms of in terms of just regular turnout, do you think that Biden is going to get a bigger share as a percentage of the Bernie voters than Hillary Clinton did in 2016?
No.
And why do you think this?
Well, multiple reasons. Because I've already said youth turnout's going to decrease. The youth didn't show up for Bernie Sanders in the primary. I don't know why people think the youth is going to show up for Biden. They're not going to show up at all.
I think
is on the ballot, but I don't think they're going to show up. I think they're going to be at like 14% of the vote. In 2016, they were at 16. In 2018, they were at 12. So I think they're going to show up 2% over from 2018. I mean, but they're going to be less of the vote than they were in 2016. And so that's a large chunk of the Bernie voters, and I don't think he's going to get that. I don't think he's for a fact he's not doing that well with Hispanics. If you
certainly
the
not.
polls, and that was a large percentage of the Bernie Sanders voters. I think Donald Trump appeals to the Bernie voters in his economic policies, in his protectionist policies, in his anti-interventionist in the Middle East policies. And so I think he's going to be able to get more of the Bernie voters this year than he did in 2016.
As a percentage or just as the raw vote total or both?
You know what? I don't actually, I don't know.
That's all right. I respect that. Yeah. You're not going to totally wing it and, all right.
Yeah, I'm not going to pull a number out of my rear end. I haven't seen any data to back it up.
All right. So we are nearing, let's see how much, 13 minutes. So I'm going to ask you one more question before we wrap this up. Last question. Why do you think that, well, not why, because you could disagree with me on this. Do you think that Joe Biden is expanding the map for Like, for example, I think he's expanding the map. It's not really Joe Biden. I think it's just the Democratic Party and shifting demographics are helping them. Do you like states like 10 years ago, and we can agree to disagree on Arizona. I think Biden's going to win. You seem to think Trump's going to win.
Trump is. You're going to be shocked when Arizona goes for Trump by a larger margin in 2020 than it did in 2016.
Well, I don't know about that. I've been to Arizona quite a few times, but whatever. We're not going to debate Arizona. But certainly in 2012, Mitt Romney won Arizona by 9 points. In 2016, Donald Trump won by 3.5. So certainly we can. I think it's crazy that anyone would think Trump's going to win Arizona by 9. I think at best he wins it by 6.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to win it by 9.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, let's look at it this way. Mitt Romney won it by 5 points, right? John McCain won it by 8. John McCain's from the state, obviously. Mitt Romney has close ties to the state in Utah. And so when we look at this stuff, we have to take into account that they are from there. Donald Trump is from New York. He is not a he's not a neocon. Arizona's big in their neocons. Jeff Flake, think John McCain. They establishment Republicans. Donald Trump is not that, but I think he's going to improve with his establishment vote, and that's why I think he's going to improve in Arizona. I've also seen a poll that I do trust, big data poll by Rich Barris, coming out and saying that Donald Trump is actually crushing in Arizona, and I believe that poll because he actually talks about his polling methodology, and he's not afraid to take questions and be open about it.
All right. The question actually wasn't about Arizona. I was just going to say, again, valid points. I think that Mark Kelly is essentially the main reason Biden should be winning Arizona, and because you're going to have a lot of Republicans who voted for Trump in 2016 because Hillary's the devil, who are going to vote for Biden. But my question was, certainly 10 years ago, Arizona was not in play, or it was barely in play for Barack Obama, or 8 years ago, rather. It's certainly in play for Joe Biden. Do you think that Biden, or just the Democrats in general, are expanding the map, or are they kind of trading Arizona and Georgia for Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania?
I think that Georgia is probably one of the only states that's actually trending towards the Democrats. I think Nevada is trending away from them. I think New Mexico is trending away from them. It's going to be a long haul to get New Mexico. We're going to need a lot of good candidates that do appeal to Hispanic voters. But as the state of New Mexico gets older, which will happen with time, obviously, we'll see it begin to trend. We're seeing that the working class in Nevada, if not for COVID, Nevada would be voting for Trump. But Nevada's economy is just absolutely destroyed, and also there's a lot of corruption in that state because of Harry Reid and his machine. I think it's the opposite. I think that Georgia is trending towards the Democrats, but I think the rest of them are actually trending towards the Republicans. I think that North Carolina is going to trend towards Trump. I think Trump is expanding his map. I think Joe Biden is defending, and this can be seen in the way that they're campaigning as well. And I've got to leave after this, so I'm going to let you finish up, but. Joe Biden's campaigning in Pennsylvania. Donald Trump is in Nevada. Donald Trump is in Arizona. Donald Trump is in Pennsylvania. Donald Trump is in New Hampshire. Donald Trump is in these states that he won, but also states that he lost, which means that he's expanding his map. Joe Biden is only in states that Hillary Clinton won, or not won, but is only in states that Barack Obama won. He's not campaigning in South Dakota or Georgia to help the senators, the Senate elections, or in Montana, like Barack Obama did in 2008. So I think that Donald Trump is actually expanding the map. But that's it.
All right. I'll let you go, but I got to get the last word in. I think Joe Biden is doing that because he doesn't want to get Hillary Clinton. They basically was just like, we're going to try to pave the way for future Democrats to win Georgia. Obviously did not work out well for her. She ended up choking in the Rust Belt. I think Biden's trying to do the opposite, not get greedy. Hold on, just flip the Rust Belt and then just eke it out. But whatever. Thank you for coming on. Great perspective, no pun intended. But yeah, all right. Thanks.
I appreciate it. I had a good time.
Me too. Thanks. See maybe future videos. All right. Bye.
Bye. That was good, man.